Call the meeting to order.
Welcome to Nixa City Hall. This video is going to provide you with an overview of how the City of Nixa conducts city council meetings. We encourage everyone to attend and participate in city council meetings. This is part of how democracy works at the local level, listening to the perspectives of subject matter experts, city residents, and other community members helps our elected leaders make more informed decisions. Before we start the meeting, let's review some of council's rules of order. These rules help us make sure our meetings are orderly and efficient, while protecting the ability of everyone to have an opportunity to speak. Please be respectful of the person speaking and hold your own comments until it is your turn to speak. Presenters are invited by the council to provide information during the meeting to the council. These are informational presentations only, and nothing will be voted on at the time of the presentation. Presenters are not time limited. There are 2 times when all other visitors will be able to speak to council. The first is during the visitor section of the agenda, and the second is during any public hearing regarding an agenda item. During the visitor section, anyone may speak to council about any topic, whereas the public hearings regarding specific agenda items allow you to make comments for council to consider before they make a decision on that topic. Whether you wish to speak during any public hearing or the visitor section, the following rules of order will apply. 1. Only one person should speak at a time. Be respectful of the person speaking and wait to speak until it is your turn. 2. Anyone speaking must do so from the podium and speak into the microphone. 3. You must first state your name and provide your address in writing to the city clerk before beginning your comments. 4. All speakers will be given 5 minutes to make their comments to the council. The mayor or council may have additional questions for speakers after this 5-minute period. 5. All comments should be addressed to the mayor and council. 6. If you have questions about existing city processes, programs, or policies, or if you need assistance from staff on any issue, please contact City Hall during normal business hours and we'll be happy to assist you or answer any questions you may have at that time. The public hearing is designed to provide the public an opportunity to provide testimony and information to the mayor and council regarding the decisions they may be considering. Keep in mind this meeting will be recorded and live streamed with video and audio. Therefore, all comments relevant to this meeting must be spoken into a microphone, otherwise video viewers will not be able to hear you. In the case of a closed session or technical difficulties, some meetings or portions of meetings may not actually be recorded or streamed. The use of cell phones during council meetings is discouraged, so please silence all devices now. Thank you for watching, and thank you for engaging with the City of Nixa. The meeting will begin shortly.
Kelly Morris.
Here.
Matt Ogden.
Here.
Sean Lucas.
Here.
Aaron Peterson.
Here.
Darlene Graham.
Here.
Stern Vest.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would anyone like to remove anything from the consent agenda? None. I will ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion. Sorry, Sean. I'll second it then.
First by Mr. Lucas, second by Ms. Graham. Roll call.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Aaron Peterson.
Yes.
Darlene Graham.
Yes.
Stern Vest.
Yes.
Kelly Morris.
Yes.
Fantastic. We will move on to the service awards. I actually have 4 tonight. First one is Lucas Howard from the Street Department.
Mayor and council, Lucas couldn't be here tonight, so I'm going to fill in. Actually, Lucas started on the Buildings and Grounds crew in 2018, and he was promoted to a utility worker last year. Lucas is one of those really fast learners. He's already assumed responsibilities. He's our primary mower with the arm mower. He's become proficient in the backhoe, the dozer, wheel loader, all of our big equipment. So that's pretty fast turnaround, and that's nice to have, especially when we're constantly rolling people. It's nice to be able to have that. Lucas is very hardworking. He's very pleasant. He meets the public well. He'll do anything to help other departments when necessary or anything else. So we're real happy to have him.
Perfect. And second, we have AJ Caraway with wastewater, who lost the flip. Because none of them like to public speak.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. AJ started with the city 10 years ago with the street department. He was a mower, spent 5 years with them. Decided to go down there to the wastewater treatment facility and move his career down there. He's been down there. He does most of our maintenance work. He drives a truck. He does it all, does the lab work. He's just kind of the all-around guy down there. A couple of months ago, he got his A operator's license. To be an A operator, your system must treat 1 million gallons of water a day. And he's able to make changes to the computer and the process down there. And he's just a good all-around guy and works hard, and he's a credit to the city.
All right. The third is Craig Trantham with 25 years with the water department.
Now, on the other end of the water system, the clean water system, Craig started his career at the city at the recycle center. In fact, he was the second recycle coordinator we had, and then he decided to go down to the treatment plant. He done just about everything down there. He was an A operator. He worked down there 15 years and decided that he was done with dirty water and decided to come up to clean water. So now he takes care of all of our wells. He does all our testing. He's the go-to, he does it all, takes water samples. He's kind of the go-to guy on the testing and, I ain't gonna say distribution side, but the treatment side of things. He makes sure that the chlorine's the right amount. He makes sure the fluoride's the right amount. Again, Craig's a hard worker and 25 years here. I'm glad he's with us. He hasn't drove me crazy yet, but he's trying.
And last will be Joe Ripple, 25 years with planning and development.
Joseph B. Ripple. He's our chief building inspector. This is a
new
throwback
picture,
to when
right?
he, say that?
Is that a new picture?
It's a throwback to when he first started way back in the day. I think Craig has a similar photo because he started. But he's been with the city for 25 years. The first 7 years, I think, were with the water department, and then he realized that the planning and development department was way cooler. So he came and, oh man, you got to put the grumpy face up, but. Joe is a wealth of knowledge. He's been with the Planning and Development Department through the highs and lows of single-family permits back when we were getting 400 a year down to 20 a year. Now we're averaging 200 a year. He's been through all of the craziness of the housing market. In addition to his knowledge on the building code, he's also a semi-historian of Nixa because he's been in this area almost his whole life. So any questions about like what this used to be or what this area used to be, he can quickly answer that in our department, which is valuable to us. My 4.5 years in the department, I've peppered him with a lot of questions, and some I thought he wouldn't be able to answer right away, but he did, and it's valuable to have that type of knowledge. And he's currently transitioning that knowledge to our other building inspectors, which is very valuable as well. So he's gearing up for his inevitable retirement. We just don't know when that day is yet. So I'm happy he's with us.
Drew, did you want to do pictures? Since they're here. That's the fun part. That's the fun part. Now moving on to the visitors section.
So I don't have anybody signed up, but if you do want to talk, we are going to let you come up and fill out a speaker card after you talk.
No? Tim, you good? Okay. We will close the visitor section. All right. So just to give everyone a heads up before I read this off, the reason there is an emergency ordinance on here, it has to do with the pump at the pool. So we're having some issues at the pool and needed to get the parts ordered faster than normal. So moving on to Council Bill 2023-24.
First reading, Emergency Council Bill Number 2023-24, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2023 annual budget to appropriate funds for the purchase of a replacement pool pump and declaring an emergency pursuant to Section 3.11F of the City Charter. Presenting is Parks Director Matt Kraus.
Thank you. I get introductions now. I like that. No, yes, as you mentioned, the main pool pump was scheduled for just annual maintenance, which is seals and new bearings, something that is routinely done, not every year, but every few years on those pool pumps as needed. We did have that into the repair shop, and we're waiting for them to get to that project, but as they got to it, they realized that there was no way they were pulling that pump apart. It was just too far gone, too far rusted, and deteriorated too much to be able to separate the pump, meaning that we needed a new pump and a new pump quick. That way we are able to have that main circulation for the pool. The main circulation pumps operate all the water moving within the pool itself. So not the spray grounds or the slides, well, a little bit of the spray grounds, but not the slides. And so that main pump then also circulates all of our chemical, and the chemical is the important side that we have to meet those recommendations. So we knew we needed to get something, and we need to get something quick in order to be able to open on time. And so that's why you have that emergency order in front of you. The pool pump cost is around $17,500 in replacement. Should last us the next several years. And it just unfortunately a little sooner than we had anticipated for the timing of needing a new pump.
How long has that current pump been in there?
It has been in almost 8 years. Yeah, between 7 and 8 years, somewhere right in that market. The pool environment is incredibly toxic to metal, as you might imagine. The chlorine and the hydrochloric acid just eats all the metal stuff. So your pool pumps are metal. They have to be. They're cast steel, and so unfortunately, yeah, everything that we do to try to keep them from rusting up, they do rust. There's no way of stopping it. We thought we were ahead of it, and we fill them with antifreeze during the off season, just to kind of keep the air out and keep them. It's actually, I should clarify, the antifreeze is a low tox, that kind of RV pink antifreeze. That way we're able to drain that back out. We get that back out, wash them back out before we circulate the pumps again. But we try to keep those moving throughout the winter, just a little bit, but unfortunately we just lost on this one.
Perfect.
How long will it take to replace it?
We should have it very quickly.
Okay.
Very quickly.
Because don't we open?
Saturday.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
That's another issue, though. Do you want that issue too?
Yeah, we might as well.
So we've got water in the pool, but we got that in there between Friday and Saturday. We got about half filled on Friday, finished the remaining half on Saturday, to come in this morning to find that we were incredibly low on water, like nearing 100,000 gallons low on water. We are finding that there is a leak, most likely underground, where we don't know where it's at in the pool at the moment. That is new development today. We've spent our day trying to pinpoint that to no success. Unfortunately, that's just not something I've had to deal with, so I'm not entirely sure. We've called the architectural company that designed the pool and are waiting for word back from them on what our next course of actions will be. Unfortunately, we are losing too much water in a way that if we can't get it pinpointed and fixed very, very soon, the likelihood of opening is is definitely an issue. And so something in the next couple days that we'll be trying to determine what's happening there so that we can determine whether we can open or how fast we would be able to open if we were able to fix it. It will be repairable. It's just a matter of finding where. Not great news.
Is there a big water puddle somewhere that you're come across?
The pool has what they call an under drain, and so it's a lateral field underneath the pool itself and the pump house. They're kind of separate from one another, and we are getting somewhere in 100 gallons or more a minute through the building sides of the pool pump house side of the under drain, which is telling us that the water is underground. All of our main drain plugs that we have to close in order to fill the pool are holding well. We know it's coming from underneath the building. And I say building, pump house, not main building. And so, that's what we know. It's a lot of water. But it is coming out through a drain pipe, which is good. That's what it's designed for. But yeah, finding that spot is the next trick, is trying to figure out where we are losing it and what pipe is possibly broken that we're losing that.
Any questions?
There's lots, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not our best day in getting the pool open and going.
Thanks, Matt.
You bet. Thank you.
And we will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Any other questions from council? And we'll make sure and keep you guys all updated on what's going on with that. Okay.
Will we need to do anything for the leak at some point between now and then?
I'd say once, as far as doing something for
Like,
the
will the
league,
council need to vote on anything for the leak or no?
I think we,
I mean, once we get to that point, most likely, it's going to be a fairly expensive repair. My guess is that it's somewhere under the pool deck. So we would be pulling concrete, digging down to the pipe that is broken, making the repairs, replacing that and building that back up to re-concrete and then go. So yeah, definitely something that's not in the budget for this year. I failed to mention, this is monies coming out of the aquatics reserve account, and this is why we have a reserve account, so that maintenance account can afford pool pumps, can afford a repair like this.
Thank you.
so make sure and watch your emails just in case we have to do an emergency meeting someday or some evening to accommodate. But, okay. So could I get a motion to approve?
So made. Second.
You cracked. First by Mr. Peterson, second by Ms. Graham. And roll call, please.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
All right, moving on. First reading of Council Bill 2023-25.
First reading Council Bill Number 2023-25, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending Section 16-200 of the Nixa City Code to authorize the discharge of fireworks within the city limits on July 3rd. Presenting is Assistant City Administrator Cindy Robbins.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At the last council meeting on May 8th, Council was directed staff to look into providing an amendment to Nixa's current code that would allow for fireworks to be discharged on July 3rd and 4th of every year. If you'll remember, our previous code only allowed fireworks to be discharged on July 4th. Last year, Council chose to amend the code to allow for July 3rd and July 4th discharge of fireworks. But it was only for 2022. This gave council a time to decide if they wanted to continue this practice or do something different. So tonight, what you have before you is an ordinance that is, would allow for the fireworks to be discharged on July 3rd and July 4th each year between the hours of 2 p.m. and 11 p.m. However, I do want to note that they are still prohibited during a burn ban. And I'm available for any questions if you have any.
No questions? All right. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Robbins. No questions, we will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Anything else from councilors? All right, moving on. Council Bill 2023-26.
First reading Council Bill Number 2023-26, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2023 annual budget to appropriate funds to hire 2 additional police officers beginning July 1st, 2023. Presenting is Police Chief Joe Campbell.
Mayor, Council, as you know, we had a sales tax initiative passed in April to fund public safety, and one of the main goals of that tax initiative was to fund additional police officers. At the recommendation of the mayor and the council, we have brought back a budgetary amendment to add 2 additional officers mid-year in 2023. These 2 officers will they will be added for at least 6 months of the year. During that time, we anticipate about $90,000 to fund the positions, the salaries, the benefits, and the equipment. The one thing that we did not address with this budgetary amendment was an additional police car, because the likelihood of finding a police car this time of year is going to be really low. We did reach out, we did do some research, but it appears that if we did find a police car that we could potentially add to the fleet for this year, it was going to be at an exorbitant amount of money that I wasn't willing to pay. But as you see in the exhibit, it is broken down. If you'd like to know exactly where those funds are going, you can see that, get down there, that the vast majority of the budgetary amendment is salaries, payroll tax, retirement, comp insurance, with a small portion of that being uniforms and equipment. This is going to go a long way in helping us add those 11 officers that we're trying to get to. I found out today that we had an officer that's going to come back to us. So he left us a couple months ago and had a change of heart. And so we're bringing him back on. We are getting really close to being full staff. So when we get these 2 officers, we're going to move quickly to fill those as quick as we can. And we already have people that are expressing interest in these positions should they be approved. If you have any questions, I'm available.
How many do we have in training right now, or do we have any at all that are still?
Yeah, so right now we have 2 in training.
And will they be completed by the time others are hired, or do we have what?
It'll be really close. They're lateral transfers, and so their training period will most likely be shortened because of that. So there's a good chance that they're going to be on the road working by themselves before we bring the next 2 on. And of course, training is always an issue when it comes to the number of people that we can put through the program potentially at any given time. But these 2 would be not a problem for our field training unit to handle.
What does full staff look like?
Full staff?
Yeah.
Well, that's a convoluted question. As allocated today,
Yes.
we are 42. With the addition of these 2, it would bring our staffing to 44 commissioned police officers, with the intention to go farther than that, obviously, up to adding 11 from the 42, so up to 50. Well, that would be 53.
Okay. Awesome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. We will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? Would like to say thank you, Chief, because 2 years ago, this is a completely different situation than we were in. I think we were trying to figure out how to keep officers, so keep it up.
Yeah, anecdotally, I can tell you that the passage of the public safety tax did wonders for our department in a lot of other ways, non-monetary ways. I think officers are seeing, the city
addressing the needs in the police department. They're looking that we're moving in the right direction, and so our recruiting has been a little easier. We're getting a lot of interest from experienced officers looking to come somewhere where they know that they're supported and they're good. They get good pay, benefits, and things of that nature. So we're thankful for that.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the second reading, Council Bill 2023-23.
Second reading, Council Bill Number 2023-23, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa declaring the necessity of acquiring by condemnation certain property rights over, under, and through certain property for the purpose of constructing and maintaining stormwater infrastructure as a part of the Cherry Street Stormwater Project, and authorizing certain city officials to do all things necessary or convenient to carry out the terms and intent of this ordinance. Presenting is Assistant City Administrator and Public Works Director Doug Coleman.
Thank you, Beck. Mayor and Council, as Becca just said, passage of this council bill would provide authorization for staff to continue with condemnation proceedings, if necessary, for a drainage easement at 310 North Missouri. Ultimately, this project is to alleviate historical flooding in the area east of Main Street from Rice Street, between Rice Street and North Street. So basically the whole length of that, all the way from 14 up. The phase we're currently trying to complete includes the area from 308 Missouri Street north to Cherry Street, including some modifications at Cherry to be able to get the stormwater pipe under Cherry. So there will actually be some road work associated with it. It'll be very minor, but there will be some. It will look different. To complete phase 2 of the project, we need this one remaining drainage easement from a property owner that's basically been non-responsive up until recently. We did acquire, of course, a third-party valuation of the property and provided it as well as legal description and all of the information to the property owner on several occasions. Contact's also been made in person on several occasions, and most recently last week, we actually came to an agreement with the property owner. It's hoped that we'll be able to continue, from that and get the actual easement signed. We're far enough along. We've requested a check so we could go ahead and move forward. But with the history with this individual and the lack of communication or lack of follow-up, it's staff's recommendation we go ahead and pass this ordinance. So in case we need it in the future, we'll be able to do that. But it doesn't sound like we're going to need to. So.
Great. Any questions? What does the time frame look like if we don't have to do this?
Well, if we don't have to do it, we'll go ahead and we'll probably be sending out bid documents within the next couple weeks. I mean, everything's ready to go. It's all designed. Everything's ready. We've just been trying to get this last easement, which is actually the second easement in the project. So, I mean, we really can't even hardly start until we get this one going. So.
And if we do have to go this route, what is that time frame? How much time does that add, I guess, is what I'm asking.
60 days, 90 days, I don't know.
It will definitely delay the project. I can't remember, I don't think we have some statutory compliance stuff we have to do, which could kick it up to 60 days before we can even file a petition in court. And then once we get into court, it's going to take a little bit it's going to take some time.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? We will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Anything else? I will accept a motion.
Makes motion.
Second.
Got a first by Mr. Ogden and second by Mr. Bess. Roll call, please.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Darlene Graham.
Yes.
Zern Vest.
Yes.
Kelly Morris.
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Move on to the resolutions portion. Resolution 2023-27.
Resolution number 2023-27, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa accepting the bid of Robinson Fence Company for the Tree Farm Fence Project and authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract for the same. Presenting is Assistant City Administrator and Public Works Director Doug Colvin.
One of our capital projects for this 2023 year is the development of a tree farm. Historically, for a couple of you new council members, we've utilized a voucher program when we do our tree trimming and some of that, whether it be for electric or other things. So a lot of times, especially with the tree trimming under power lines, we'll get permission to completely remove a tree and then we don't have to go back. What we do is we'll provide a voucher for that customer to be able to replace that tree with a smaller tree under 30 foot in height, at full maturity, and plant it away from the lines. And it's been very successful to be able to get a lot of that cleaned up, and we're not going back over and over again. The idea behind this is to not provide vouchers, but actually have the trees, and then we can start with small trees, grow them up a little bit, and go from there and still provide a really nice tree for a lot less cost. This particular project would be just to put the fence on, and where this is located at is out south of the dog park on Norton Road. So it'll be a 100 by 100 foot area with a 6-foot fence. We're starting out with 4 different types of trees. Of course, a couple of ornamental trees, a red bud and a dogwood, which are pretty standard around here that look very nice. An amur maple, which stays within about 30 foot in height. There's another, I'm sorry, I didn't write down all 4 of them that Tim told me about, but he's still evaluating the 4. He thinks he's got a 4th one picked out, but he was still evaluating a couple others. Anyway, when we sent this out, we've had this around for a couple of months. We actually sent out 54 bid invitations through our Ion Wave with 11 specific invitations to local fence companies, as well as posting it on our Demand Star. We did receive 4 bid responses. Robinson Company was the best and cheapest bid at $11,200. So staff's recommendation is to pass the resolution, award the contract.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Colvin. We will open up the public hearing. If anyone would like to speak on the trees. We will close the public hearing. Any more questions? I'll accept the motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. Lucas. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Moving on to Resolution 2023-28.
Resolution number 2023-28, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to apply for and accept a Coalition for Roadway Safety grant provided by the Missouri Department of Transportation to assist with highway safety initiatives. Presenting is Police Chief Joe Campbell.
Mayor, Council, we had an opportunity to apply for a grant through MoDOT. They used a local entity called the Coalition for Roadway Safety to administer this particular grant. And this grant is open for equipment and or educational materials to assist with highway safety initiatives. It's a non-matching grant, which means they cover 100% of the cost of the grant request. And through much deliberation, we have decided to go a different route this time. Normally, we use these grants to get different types of equipment. So in the past, we've gotten laser radar guns, things of that nature. We've used it to get signage and things, signs for display that show your speed and speed trailers. And so this year, we thought we would take a different approach and try to fund some of our other initiatives and focus more on an educational perspective. And so the idea behind that would be is that we would try to educate children about highway safety and vehicle safety, knowing that they have a big influence on how their parents drive. Just drive around with a kid, and they'll be the best critique person you have in the car about driving, and they'll certainly point out your deficiencies. So the idea would be that we would buy a variety of educational materials that would give us an opportunity to have some interaction with kids, teach them about driving, things like don't text and drive, stickers, MPD stickers and badges, which is our #1 request for things from the kids at any event that we go to. Coloring books that are geared toward highway safety and traffic safety, and then things like road sign sticker sheets and things of that nature. The total request for this grant will be $4,359.60, and that would be that would purchase all the above listed items. And you got to remember that's in quantity, so that would last us quite a while, which is an issue for us because we tend to go through the promotional items quite a bit, and quite frankly, they're expensive. And so when you're giving these things away, it's nice to have a really good stockpile of these things. So we're hoping that MoDOT will see the value in our request and award us this grant. If any questions?
Thank you, Chief. No more questions. We will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Anything else? I'll accept the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
First by Ms. Graham, second by Mr. Lucas. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Moving on to Resolution 2023-29.
Resolution number 2023-29, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa to accept the bid of Hamby Construction LLC for the construction of a police firing range building and authorizing the city administrator to execute a contract for the same. Presenting is Chief of Police Joe Campbell.
Mayor, Council, I'm actually pretty excited about this one. It's been a long time coming. We are in the second phase of our range project, which included the building that we were trying to build for storage and to have a training room as well. We went through it quite a bit to get here, to be quite frank. We started with a quote and then ended up deciding to go through that quote process and through the cooperative, using a cooperative. We decided that we would also bid this out. And so what we did was we sent this thing out to 91 companies for bid, using Ion Wave, and we received just 2 bids out of all of those 91 opportunities. It was open for 1 month, with the high bid coming in at $553,000 and the lower bid coming in at $345,000. Now, we compared that to the cooperative price that we were able to secure with Hamby Construction at $269,000. So you can see there was a substantial savings to go with the cooperative. So what we have here tonight is a contract to enter into construction agreement with them for the $269,818.42. This is anticipated to be started this month, coming up in June, and being completed by the end of the year. Any questions about this?
Will this have bathrooms?
Yes.
Fantastic.
It will have restrooms.
Definitely.
Working restrooms and water.
No more porta potties. It's nice.
No.
Why is there such a big difference with all the bids? I mean, is it just because of the price of materials have gone up, or is it because?
Well, that's an interesting thing. You know, this is the first time that I think we're aware of, that I'm aware of, that the city is using a cooperative to do a major construction project. We've done cooperatives in the past, and usually we're buying materials. So we'll buy a tangible thing, you know, some widgets or whatever you want to, whatever it would be, and you're buying that on a negotiated price. This essentially is a negotiated pricing for construction costs, materials, labor, things of that nature. And so this co-op is actually based on a contract that Hamby has with the city of Springfield. And so they're using that pricing whenever they bid this particular project out. I can't account for the other cost. I mean, they all had a pretty equal opportunity to bid the project based on the parameters that we put out. Some may have done different finishes, may have done more expensive things, but that might account for the wide variety in pricing. And if Stephanie was here, she could probably give you a little more insight on the cooperative and how that actually works with purchasing.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. Nothing else. We will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Not any more questions? I'll accept the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Got a first by Mr. Ogden, second by Mr. Best. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. One thing that wanted to touch base on, I know there has been a lot of complaints regarding Republic services, and they're picking up or lack
Mayor, would you
thereof.
like to take care of the last resolution before
Do
we
what?
get to that?
We have one more resolution.
I wrote my notes on the wrong thing. My apologies.
Just checking.
We're going to move on to Republic Services after this, just in case anyone was wondering. Okay, Resolution 2023-30.
Resolution number 2023-30, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the sale or distribution of alcohol on city property for the Rotary Club of Nixa's 2023 Party in the Park special event. Presenting is Planning and Development Director Scott Goppy.
Mayor, council, good evening. Thank you for letting me read this.
My apologies.
The Rotary Club of Nixa has submitted a special event permit for their third annual Party in the Park fundraiser, which we held at Macaulay Park. The fundraiser will benefit the Christian County 100 Club. It is set for Saturday, June 3rd, 2023. Section 16-325 of Nixa City Code requires that any special event on city-owned property that involves the sale or distribution of alcohol to first receive authorization from Nixa City Council. So within that code section, the applicant must obtain the appropriate permits and licenses from Missouri Department of Liquor Control and also the City of Nixa. And then there will also be a designated fenced area providing one entrance and one exit, and there will be somebody checking IDs. And that fence will surround the perimeter where alcohol will be distributed. The applicant has addressed the requirements of Section 16-325 in the information packet, and there should have been a map attached to this resolution that shows you their area of operation at Macaulay Park. Staff recommends approval. If you have any questions, I'm available.
No questions? Thank you, Mr. Godby. No questions. We will open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. If there's nothing else, I will accept the motion.
So made.
I'll second.
First by Mr. Lucas, second by Mrs. Morris. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye, me. Want to know why?
I mean, I guess you could tell us.
Okay. Just because we've got that new playground there, there's tons of kids around, and there's a lot of alcohol going around with children that close. And I love the Rotary Club, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Did you need you don't need a roll call on that, do you? Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys know, but we have some complaints from Republic Services. So Mr. Lyles talked to them today, so I'll let him give us an update.
You bet. Yeah, we've received multiple complaints throughout the day of missed pickups, trash pickups at the end of last week. Primarily in Tiffany Highlands, Cobble Creek area, Kelby Creek, Cedar Heights, I believe, was one. So there were several neighborhoods that didn't get picked up either Thursday or Friday, or both. Cedar Heights was missed Thursday and Friday. So I did reach out to Jennifer Fagan, it's our municipal manager that handles the municipal accounts today, and we've been communicating back and forth throughout the entire day to make sure that they're aware of the missed pickups and that they have a plan to take care of those. I can tell you that by the end of the day, they've already picked up a lot of them, not all of them, but they are working hard to get those caught up. They do plan on finishing up anything that's left tomorrow. We also ran into an issue with, we discovered that some recycling has not been picked up, some as far as 4 to 6 weeks has not been picked up, and that was just brought to our attention today. So they're putting a plan together to take care of that as well, and they're blanketing the entire area today and tomorrow to try to ensure they're picking up everything that they can on the recycling. I know, as a matter of fact, they were out, because we got a notification about it tonight, they were out after 6 o'clock still picking up, so they are working late to try to get everything caught up. Just a couple of updates from Republic Services that I can pass on to you is that they did hire a new operations manager that started today that's going to oversee the operations and some of these pickups and schedules and things that they were behind on. So they do have a new person in place to handle that. They've also started a new program, a new software to be able to track their pickups and missed pickups to ensure that they are, if there is a missed pickup, they're getting that picked up as quickly as possible. So they are taking some steps to try to address it. They are very aware of the complaints that we're receiving, because I'm sure they're receiving them as well. And then anything we get, we pass on to them also. But we're keeping in direct communication, trying to ensure that they're staying on top of all the pickups. So just want to give council a little bit of information, because I know that I'm sure you've receiving phone calls and emails as well. So and feel free to direct any of those. If you need me to, I'd be happy to talk to them or direct them to Republic Services, either one.
How are those customers that were missed being communicated to as to when to leave their trash cans out if they weren't leaving them out already?
Yeah, that's a great question. I asked about the communications plan. I'm still waiting to hear back from Republic Services. I did ask them today if they had a communications plan to handle that, so I'm waiting to hear back. So I can tell you, they did tell me today, though, that if they do miss a pickup, they make a mass notification to those customers. They said through the phone number that they have on file. So if the customer doesn't have a current phone number on file, they may not be getting those notifications. But if they miss a pickup, they're supposed to be making those notifications. But as far as the communications plan, I'll let you know as soon as I hear back.
And before we move to our last thing, was there anything else from council or staff? All right, Mr. Peterson.
I move that city council go into closed session under section 610-021-1 of RSMO so that city council may discuss legal actions, causes of action, and confidential and privileged communications with their attorney. I also move that this closed session, records related thereto, and any votes taken by the council during this session shall be closed under section 610-021 RSMO, and that the city council shall stand adjourned after the closed session.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucas. Roll call, please.
Darlene Graham.
Yes.
Zern Vest.
Yes.
Kelly Morris.
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
Sean Lucas.
Yes.
Aaron Peters.
Yes.